Listen to me. This ain't the end. You hear me? This is the rebuild. Yeah, you got knocked down. Yeah, life hit you with something you didn't see coming. You lost your job. Your relationship fell apart. Your confidence is gone. You're standing in the ruins of what used to be your light, your dream, your hope. But I'm here to tell you something that could change everything. You can rebuild. See, life is not about what happens to you. It's about what you do after it happens. Life ain't a straight line. It's jagged. It's ugly. It's messy. But every setback you face is a setup for a stronger comeback. This moment right now is not your ending. It's your beginning. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions. You don't need approval. You don't need a fresh start. You need a fresh mindset. Stop looking at the broken pieces like they're trash. Those pieces are your tools. Use them, build with them, start laying brick by brick. I don't care if you crawl at first. Just move. You say, but ET, I'm tired. Because when you're tired, that means you've been fighting. You've been pushing. But now it's time to fight with direction. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the next step. You don't need to be whole to move forward. You just need heart. You are not what you lost. You are not what you lost. You are what you do next. Get up, shake the dust, and start rebuilding. Stronger, wiser, better than ever. This is your time. Rebuild your mind. Rebuild your spirit. Rebuild your grind. Because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you. But the good news is you don't need saving. You just need to rise. You can't run from it. You can't hide from it. That pain you feel, that weight in the chest when you wake up, that sting in your heart from what they said, what they did, what you lost. That's not something you can bury and pretend like it never happened. That pain is real. And I need you to do something different today. I need you to stop avoiding it. I need you to stop numbing it with distractions. I need you to stop blaming everybody else for it. It's time to own your pain. Sit with it. Feel it. Look it straight in the eye and say, I see you. You're part of my story, but you're not the end of my story. Everybody wants healing, but nobody wants to go through what it takes to heal. They want the success. They want the results, but they don't want the process. But the truth is, if you skip the pain, you skip the power. That pain, that heartbreak, that betrayal, that failure, that loss, it's not the enemy. It's your trainer. That pain is working you out. It's preparing your mind, your character, your soul for what's next. And I know it hurts. I know it's uncomfortable. I know you want to scream, cry, maybe even give up. But I promise you, if you face it head on and embrace it, it will build you. That pain will introduce you to the strongest version of yourself that you didn't even know was there. You don't get strength by running away. You don't get wisdom by avoiding discomfort. You don't grow by pretending everything is fine when it's not. You grow when you acknowledge your wounds and say, I'm bleeding, but I'm still walking. You grow when you say, yeah, I failed, but I'm not finished. That's the difference between the ones who rise and the ones who stay stuck. It's not talent. It's the decision to own it. Own the hurt. Own the anger. Own the fear. Own all of it. Because once you claim it, you can change it. See, the world has taught us to cover it up. Slap on a fake smile. Post like everything's perfect. Act like nothing phases you. But I'm telling you, real power comes when you get honest with yourself. I'm hurting, but I'm healing. That honesty is the first step. That's when your comeback begins. Not when everything's fixed, but when you stop lying to yourself. I've been there. I've hit rock bottom. I've cried in empty rooms. I questioned if I had anything left to give. And it wasn't a motivational quote that pulled me out. It was the decision to stop pretending. It was the choice to feel the weight and carry it anyway. It was the moment I said, okay, pain, you want to sit with me? Fine. But I'm still moving. That's what ownership looks like. It's not waiting for life to stop hurting. It's moving even with the wound. It's showing up even with the scar. Because what you carry doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. It makes you relatable. It makes you strong in a way comfort never could. Stop running. Stop blaming. Stop numbing. Stop numbing. Because as long as you do, the pain owns you. But when you face it, when you stop letting it dictate your actions, that's when the shift happens. When the growth begins. You don't have to be perfect. Don't have to have it all figured out, but you do have to show up and say, I'm ready to build from this. I'm ready to rise with this. Because the same pain that tried to break you can be the reason you elevate. If you let it, you think you're the only one hurting. Everybody's got pain. Everybody's got something they don't talk about. But the champions, the warriors, the legends, they don't just carry their pain. They use it. They take that pain and turn it into fuel. They let it shape their focus. They let it sharpen their grind. They say, this didn't come to destroy me. It came to define me. And they go out there and rebuild one brick, one rep, one tear at a time. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fast, but it's going to be worth it. And every time you push through, every time you confront the hurt, instead of hiding from it, you're getting stronger. You're learning who you are. You're proving to yourself that you are not your trauma. You are not your mistakes. You are not your worst moment. You are the one who refused to stay down. You are the one who said, this pain is mine and I will use it to rise. You keep replaying in your head, don't you? That one decision, that one moment, that one mistake, the thing you said, the thing you said, the thing you didn't do. You keep hitting rewind, like maybe if you punish yourself enough, it'll undo the damage. But let me tell you something. You cannot change the past by hating yourself in the present. You cannot walk into your future while dragging the chains of guilt and shame from yesterday. You messed up. Welcome to the club. You failed? Good. That means you tried. That means you stepped out. That means you took a risk. But now the question is, how long are you going to sit in that failure and let it define you? You're not broken. You're not ruined. You're not too far gone. The only thing that's keeping you from rebuilding your life is the belief that you don't deserve a second chance. But who told you that? Who told you you had to be perfect to move forward? Listen to me. You're human. That means you're going to make mistakes. That means you're going to fall. That means sometimes your emotions are going to get the best of you. Sometimes you're going to take the wrong turn. But if you stay in that place, if you keep beating yourself up, if you keep dragging that guilt around like a badge of honor, you're not being strong. You're being stuck. Strength is not about pretending you didn't fall. Strength is about standing up and saying, yes, I fell, but I'm not staying down. Forgiveness is not a gift you give because you earned it. It's a decision you make because you need it. You forgive yourself because if you don't, you'll stay trapped in a moment that no longer exists. You'll keep reliving something that already happened instead of creating something new. You're punishing yourself for something that's already over. The mistake is done, but the lesson is still alive. Are you learning from it or are you letting it own you? See, the enemy wants you to believe that you're your failure, that you are your worst choice, that you are your past. But I'm telling you, you are more than your mistake. You are more than that decision. You are more than the moment you wish you could erase. I need you to stop being your own prison guard. You've locked yourself in a cell of guilt and thrown away the key. You walk around smiling on the outside, but carrying shame on the inside. And that shame is heavy. It's slowing you down. It's silencing your voice. It's shrinking your vision. But let me tell you something. Shame is a liar. Shame tells you that because you failed, you're a failure. That because you hurt someone, you can't heal anyone. That because you messed up once, you're disqualified forever. It's a lie. And today, I need you to break that lie. I need you to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not perfect, but I'm still valuable. I'm not flawless, but I'm still chosen. I've made mistakes, but I'm still growing. You're still here. That means your purpose didn't die with your failure. That means your calling didn't get canceled. That means God ain't done with you yet. You have to stop punishing yourself for something that made you wiser. That mistake made you more aware. It opened your eyes. It broke your pride. It humbled you. It taught you compassion. It gave you experience. That pain you feel, that's your teacher. So don't waste a lesson by getting stuck in regret. Some of you, you're waiting for someone else to forgive you before you forgive yourself. But what if they never say sorry? What if they never release you? You're going to stay stuck forever. You're going to hand them the keys to your future? No, you don't need their permission to heal. You don't need their apology to move on. The person you need to have a conversation with is the one looking back at you in the mirror. That's who you need to forgive. Forgive yourself for not knowing better. Forgive yourself for choosing comfort over courage. Forgive yourself for staying too long or leaving too soon. Forgive yourself for being human. Because every day you wake up still angry at yourself. It's another day you're blocking your blessings. Another day you're hiding your gift. Another day you're shrinking your light. You got something powerful inside of you, but it's buried under shame. Dig it up, pull it out, dust it off. Remind yourself of who you are. Remind yourself of what you survived. And then give yourself permission to ride. You cried enough tears. You've punished yourself long enough. You've lived in that prison long enough. It's time to be free. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget. It means you learn. It means you grow. It means you make peace with your past so you can walk into your future without fear. And the most powerful thing you can do today, look at yourself and say, I'm still worthy. I'm still needy. I'm still here. And I still have something to offer. You want to change your life? You want to rebuild yourself? Then the first thing you need to do is stop pointing fingers. Stop blaming your father for not being there. Stop blaming your teacher for not believing in you. Stop blaming your boss, your background, your past, your city, your background, your past. As long as you're blaming somebody else, you're giving away your power. You're handing over the keys to your destiny and saying, here, you drive. That's not how champions are built. That's not how legacies are written. That's not how warriors rise. They don't waste time making excuses. They don't get stuck on who hurt them or who didn't support them. They don't say, I would have been successful if it wasn't for them. No. They look at the situation, no matter how unfair, and say, I'm still responsible for what happens next. It's easy to blame. It's easy to point out the flaws in everyone else. It's easy to say they didn't give me a chance. But here's the truth. Life is not fair. It never was. And if you wait for fairness, if you wait for an apology, if you wait for the perfect support system, you're going to be waiting forever. And while you're waiting, your life is passing you by. Your purpose is getting dusty. Your dreams are sitting on the shelf. I know people hurt you. I know people failed you. I know they left when they should have stayed. I know they doubted you, disrespected you, maybe even broke you. But hear me clearly. What they did to you is not your fault. But what you do with it, that's all on you. You don't get to choose your pain, but you do get to choose your response. And when you choose blame, you choose to stay bound. Some of you are carrying anger for years, still mad at someone who's moved on, still replaying the betrayal, still holding on to resentment like it's armor. But let me tell you what it really is. It's a weight. It's a weight. And it's slowing you down. You're trying to climb, but you're carrying people on your back that don't even think about you anymore. You're trying to rise while dragging dead memories into a future that has no room for them. And every time you say, they ruined me, you're reinforcing that lie. You are not ruined. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not a victim of their actions unless you decide to be. You have the power to change the story, but not if you keep letting the old characters run the narrative. You got to take your life back. And that means looking in the mirror and saying, it stops with me. Now it's their fault. Now that they did this to me. No, it stops with me. That's the declaration. That's the turning point. You want to rebuild? Then take ownership. Not because it was all your fault, but because it's your future. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to fix your past. Nobody's going to make it right. You've got to decide that your purpose is more important than your pain. That your future matters more than your frustration. That your growth means more than staying angry. And let me tell you something. There's freedom in ownership. There's freedom in ownership. There's power in responsibility. When you stop blaming, you start building. You stop reacting and you start creating. You stop waiting and you stop moving. And suddenly life stops happening to you. It starts happening for you. It starts happening for you. That's the mindset shift. That's the fuel. I've been there. I used to blame my circumstance. I used to blame the people who walked away. I used to get caught up in the why. Why me? Why this? Why now? But the day I stopped asking why and started asking me, what now? That's the day everything changed. That's the day I got my fire back. That's the day I took my power back. Nobody's life is perfect. Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got scars. But some of us use our scars as excuses, and some of us use them as reasons to rise. I made a decision. I'm not going to waste my life stuck in blame. I'm not going to hand my story over to the people who tried to destroy me. I'm not going to wait for closure to start healing. I'm going to be the author of my own comeback. And you can do the same. But you got to let go of the need to be right. You've got to let go of the need to be right. You've got to let go of the comfort of blame. You've got to let go of the old narrative that says you're a victim. You're not a victim. You're a warrior. You're not stuck. You're standing at the beginning of a brand new chapter. So close the old book. Take the pen back. Rewrite the story. Not with excuses, not with blame, but with power. With clarity. With conviction. Because this next season is not about what happened to you. It's about what you're going to do with it. You got one shot at this life. One. This isn't a rehearsal. You don't get to rewind it, fix the script, and act it out again. This is it. And as long as you're waiting on someone else to save you, to tell you what to do, to give you a handout, you're wasting the most valuable gift you've got. Time. At some point, you got to wake up and decide. I'm not blaming anybody else. I'm not waiting for perfect condition. I'm not sitting around hoping that something changes. I'm going to change. Right now, right here, this moment. You keep saying life's hard. I know it is. You keep saying the odds are against you. I know they are, but that doesn't mean you stop. That doesn't mean you stop. That doesn't mean you sit still. That doesn't mean you fold. It means you digging deeper. It means you rise anyway. It means you stop looking around for someone to rescue you and start becoming the kind of person who rescues others. You want power? You want progress? Then on every single part of your life, the good, the bad, the ugly, the painful, the truth. Too many people are walking around like passengers in their own life, sitting in the back seat, letting distractions drive, letting other people's opinions hold the wheel, letting fear choose the destination. But this is your car. This is your road. This is your journey. You don't get to blame the driver when you're the one with the keys in your hand. You're not powerless. You're not a puppet on somebody else's string. You have choices. You have influence. You have potential. But all of that means nothing if you don't take ownership. Taking responsibility isn't about perfection. It's about direction. It's about saying, I may not have caused everything to happen to me, but I refuse to let those things define me. Stop waiting for motivation to show up. Stop looking for a sign. You are the sign. Your breath, your heartbeat, your dreams, that's your signal. That's your green light. Every day you wake up with another chance to make it right, to move forward, to take a step toward the life you were born to live. But you gotta move. You gotta add. You gotta add. You gotta stop pointing and start building. And listen, this isn't easy. It's not comfortable. When you take responsibility, you can't hide behind excuses anymore. You can't say I'm broke because of them. You can't say I'm stuck because of them. You got to look in the mirror and say, I played a part. I let fear win. I let my comfort zone become a coffin. I let my emotions make decisions for me. But today, I'm taking the wheel back. Nobody's perfect. We all slip. We all make choices that sabotage us. We all delay. We all waste time. But the difference between the people who stay stuck isn't luck. It's accountability. Stay stuck isn't luck. It's accountability. You can't control everything that happens around you, but you can control how you respond. You can control your mindset. You can control your habit. You can control your focus. And that right there, that's where your power lives. Some of y'all are mad at the world, mad at your family, mad at the system, mad at the job, mad at the government, mad at everything. But what's that doing for you? You think anger alone is going to build your dream? You think bitterness is going to pay the bills? You think blaming is going to make your life better? No. All it's doing is stealing your energy. All it's doing is distracting you. All it's doing is keeping you from rising. The truth is, your life is your responsibility. Your health is your responsibility. Your future is your responsibility. Your peace is your responsibility. And when you finally accept that, when you finally grab it with both hands, things start to shift. You walk different. You talk different. You grind different. You stop wasting time and start managing it. You stop making excuses and start making progress. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm saying it's going to be worth it. Because when you take responsibility, you take control. And when you take control, you become dangerous to every limitation that try to break you. You become unstoppable. Because now it's not about what happened to you. It's about what you're doing with it. Don't wait for someone to show you the way. Make your own way. Don't wait for the world to believe in you. Believe in yourself. Don't wait for permission to be great. Give it to yourself. Say it. I take full responsibility for my life. No more blame. No more blame. No more waiting. No more fear. I'm building. I'm growing. I'm becoming everything I was created to be. You want success? Then stop running from the pain. Stop hiding from the hard stuff. Stop dodging discomfort like it's the enemy. Pain is not your enemy. It's your training partner. It's the pressure that produces power. It's the fire that forges greatness. You keep asking why it hurts. But I'm telling you, that pain you feel, that's the cost of growth. That's the price of transformation. That's the signal that you're moving in the right direction. Everybody wants to win, but nobody wants to suffer. Everybody wants the glory, but nobody wants to grind. But I'm telling you, if you're not willing to go through the pain, you're not ready for the prize. You can't skip the struggle and expect strength. You can't avoid the fight and still claim victory. You've got to earn it. You've got to bleed for it. You got to cry for it. And sometimes you got to hurt for it. See, the world has lied to you. It told you that if it's painful, it's wrong. It told you that if it's uncomfortable, it's not meant for you. But that's not the truth. The truth is, everything you want is on the other side of pain. Everything worth having requires sacrifice. You think champions are made on easy streets? You think warriors are born from comfort? No, they're built in the trenches. They're built in the cold. They're built in the late nights, early mornings, sore muscles, broken hearts, and silent tears. That's where greatness is born. I remember grinding in the dark, no spotlight, no applause, just me and the pain, just me and the pressure, just me and the voice in my head saying, keep going. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, but it was powerful. Because every rep, every step, every sacrifice, it was shaping me. It was breaking the weak parts of me. It was forcing me to find the version of me I didn't even know existed. That's what pain does. It introduces you to the strongest parts of yourself. But most people miss that. Most people tap out when it gets hard. Most people fold the moment it starts to hurt. They feel the resistance and say, oh, maybe this isn't for me. They feel the burn and say, oh, maybe I'm not cut out for this. No, that burn is your body waking up. That resistance is the door to the next level. Don't retreat from it. Embrace it. You're supposed to feel pain when you're rebuilding. You're supposed to feel pressure when you're pushing your limits. You're supposed to feel fear when you're facing something bigger than you. But none of that means you stop. None of that means you quit. It means you dig in. It means you hold on. It means you keep going, even when your mind screams a no, because your purpose says, yes, I get it. It's tempting to numb the pain, to distract yourself, to scroll, binge, drink, sleep it off, shut down. But pain doesn't go away just because you ignore it. It waits. It grows. It multiplies. And one day it demands your attention. But here's the truth. If you embrace the pain now, if you feel it, face it and fight through it, you don't have to fear it anymore. You turn it into your fuel. You turn it into your testimony. I'm not asking you to enjoy the pain. I'm asking you to respect it, to understand that it has a purpose. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to develop you. It's not a punishment. It's a preparation. When you embrace pain, you become dangerous. You become unstoppable because now nothing can break you. You've already been through hell. Now you're walking out with fire in your chest. You say you want to rebuild yourself? Then stop hiding from the pain. Let it teach you. Let it stretch you. Let it stretch you. Let it humble you. Let it build you. Because the pain you endure today is the strength you stand on tomorrow. And when people see you winning, they won't understand what it cost. They won't see the tear. They won't see the nights you almost gave up. But you'll know that you paid for it with everything in you. You've got to be willing to suffer for your dream. You've got to be willing to lose sleep, lose comfort, lose distraction, because pain is the price. But hear me, when you come out on the other side, when you feel the breakthrough, when you taste that success, every ounce of pain will make sense. Damn, will make sense. Every moment of struggle will be worth it. So stop praying for it to get easier. Stop praying for strength. Stop asking for comfort. Start asking for courage. Don't run from the pain. Run through it. Because on the other side of that pain is the version of you the world needs to see. The version of you you've never met before. The warrior, the giant, the leader, the finisher. You ever wonder why you keep feeling stuck? Why it seems like no matter how hard you push, you keep hitting the same walls? Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Sometimes the biggest obstacle to your growth isn't the world. It's your circle. That's right. It's the people you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with people who are always complaining, always making excuses, always doubting, always settling, don't be surprised when you start thinking, talking, and living the same way. Because energy is contagious. Mindset is contagious. Contagious. Habits are contagious. If you want to grow, you've got to be intentional about who you allow in your space. I didn't get here alone. I didn't grind this hard, rise this high, and build this life by myself. I had to find people who were hungry, people who pushed me, people who challenged me to level up, people who didn't clap for mediocrity, people who weren't afraid to call me out when I was slipping, people who didn't tolerate laziness, people who had visions bigger than comfort. I needed that fire around me because sometimes your own flame runs low and you need others to help reignite it. But you can't get that from people who are okay being average. You can't get that from people who gave up on their dreams years ago. You can't get that from people who spend their time gossiping, scrolling, and sleeping through life. You've got to level up your circle. You've got to get around people who talk about ideas, not just people. People who live with purpose, not just paycheck to paycheck. People who see potential in you that you can't even see in yourself. Look around you. Who are you spending your time with? Who's speaking into your life? Who are you letting influence your mindset, your habits, your decisions? If your circle doesn't inspire you, it's not a circle, it's a cage. And some of you have been locked up in cages for so long. You forgot what freedom feels like. You forgot what it's like to be around people who believe in themselves and believe it's not just about being liked. It's not about having a bunch of friends. It's about being surrounded by the right people. The people who speak life into you when you're running on empty. The people who remind you of your worth when you start forgetting. The people who don't let you quit when it gets hard. That kind of support is priceless. That kind of community changes everything. But to find that circle, you've got to be willing to make some hard choices. You've got to be willing to let go of people who don't want to grow, people who drain your energy, people who celebrate your stagnation because it makes them feel better about not moving either. It's not about being better than anyone. It's about choosing what's best for your purpose. It's about being around people who bring out the best in you. I remember when I started chasing my dream, a lot of the people around me didn't get it. They thought I was crazy. They said, why work that hard? Or why not just play it safe? Or why are you always grinding like that? And listen, it hurt. It hurt to outgrow people I love. It hurt to walk away from people I shared memories with. But I knew if I stayed in that space, I stayed small. And I was not created to play small. You were not created to play small either. You were not created to stay stuck, surrounded by negativity, settling for less than you were made for. You got gifts. You've got vision. You've got purpose. But all of that gets stifled when you're around the wrong people. You start doubting yourself. You start questioning your moves. You start shrinking to fit into a space that was never meant to hold you. When you get around the right people, everything changes. Your conversations change. Your standards change. Your hustle changes. Because now you're in an environment that feeds your future instead of feeding your fears. You're in a space that grows you, not just comforts you, not just comforts you. You hear ideas that stretch your imagination. You hear truths that sharpen your focus. You watch people win, and instead of being jealous, you're inspired. Because, if they can do it, you can do it too. Iron sharpens iron. So if you want to be sharp, you've got to be around other sharpened blades. You got to be around people who grind like you grind, who dream like you dream, who don't just talk about it. They live it. And when you build that kind of circle, you stop second guess, stop stall. You stop stalling. You stop settling. Because now you got people who remind you every single day, we don't quit, we rise. So if you're serious about rebuilding yourself, don't just change your habits. Change your habits, change your environment. Don't just shift your mindset, shift your circle. Because the people around you are either going to fuel your purpose or feed your fear. And I'm telling you right now, choose the ones who feed your fire. You ever wonder why you keep feeling stuck? Why it seems like no matter how hard you push, you keep hitting the same walls? Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Sometimes the biggest obstacle to your growth isn't the world. It's your circle. That's right. It's the people you spend the most time with. If you surround yourself with people who are always complaining, always making excuses, always doubting, always settling, don't be surprised when you start thinking, talking, and living the same way. Because energy is contagious. Mindset is contagious. Contagious. Habits are contagious. If you want to grow, you've got to be intentional about who you allow in your space. I didn't get here alone. I didn't grind this hard, rise this high, and build this life by myself. I had to find people who were hungry, people who pushed me, people who challenged me to level up, people who didn't clap for mediocrity, people who weren't afraid to call me out when I was slipping, people who didn't tolerate laziness, people who had visions bigger than comfort. I needed that fire around me because sometimes your own flame runs low and you need others to help reignite it. But you can't get that from people who are okay being average. You can't get that from people who gave up on their dreams years ago. You can't get that from people who spend their time gossiping, scrolling, and sleeping through life. You've got to level up your circle. You've got to get around people who talk about ideas, not just people. People who live with purpose, not just paycheck to paycheck. People who see potential in you that you can't even see in yourself. Look around you. Who are you spending your time with? Who's speaking into your life? Who are you letting influence your mindset, your habits, your decisions? If your circle doesn't inspire you, it's not a circle, it's a cage. And some of you have been locked up in cages for so long. You forgot what freedom feels like. You forgot what it's like to be around people who believe in themselves and believe it's not just about being liked. It's not about having a bunch of friends. It's about being surrounded by the right people. The people who speak life into you when you're running on empty. The people who remind you of your worth when you start forgetting. The people who don't let you quit when it gets hard. That kind of support is priceless. That kind of community changes everything. But to find that circle, you've got to be willing to make some hard choices. You've got to be willing to let go of people who don't want to grow, people who drain your energy, people who celebrate your stagnation because it makes them feel better about not moving either. It's not about being better than anyone. It's about choosing what's best for your purpose. It's about being around people who bring out the best in you. I remember when I started chasing my dream, a lot of the people around me didn't get it. They thought I was crazy. They said, why work that hard? Or why not just play it safe? Or why are you always grinding like that? And listen, it hurt. It hurt to outgrow people I love. It hurt to walk away from people I shared memories with. But I knew if I stayed in that space, I stayed small. And I was not created to play small. You were not created to play small either. You were not created to stay stuck, surrounded by negativity, settling for less than you were made for. You've got gifts. You've got vision. You've got purpose. But all of that gets stifled when you're around the wrong people. You start doubting yourself. You start questioning your moves. You start shrinking to fit into a space that was never meant to hold you. When you get around the right people, everything changes. Your conversations change. Your standards change. Your hustle changes. Because now you're in an environment that feeds your future instead of feeding your fears. You're in a space that grows you, not just comforts you, not just comforts you. You hear ideas that stretch your imagination. You hear truths that sharpen your focus. You watch people win, and instead of being jealous, you're inspired. Because, if they can do it, you can do it too. Iron sharpens iron. So if you want to be sharp, you've got to be around other sharpened blades. You got to be around people who grind like you grind, who dream like you dream, who don't just talk about it. They live it. And when you build that kind of circle, you stop second guess, stop stall. You stop stalling. You stop settling. Because now you got people who remind you every single day, we don't quit, we rise. So if you're serious about rebuilding yourself, don't just change your habits. Change your habits. Change your environment. Don't just shift your mindset. Shift your circle. Because the people around you are either going to fuel your purpose or feed your fear. And I'm telling you right now, choose the ones who feed your fire. You keep waiting for motivation to show up like it's some magic switch that's going to flip everything around. You keep saying, I don't feel like it. And you let that feeling run your life. Let me tell you something. Motivation is not loyal. Motivation is not dependable. Motivation is like the wind. It changes direction whenever it wants. One day it's there, the next is gone. But discipline shows up even when you don't feel like it. Discipline laces up the shoes when your body's aching. Discipline hits the books when your mind's tired. Discipline gets up at 5 a.m. when the alarm hits. Not because it's fun, but because it's necessary. You're not going to rebuild your life with vibes and moods. You're not going to transform who you are with good days and Instagram quotes. You're going to do it with consistency. You're going to do it with sacrifice. You're going to do it with repetition. When motivation dies out, and it will, discipline is what keeps the engine running. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results. Look, I love being inspired. I love hearing words that light a fire in my chest. But I learned a long time ago, you can't live on fire alone. You need fuel. And that fuel is structure. That fuel is habit. That fuel is doing the work even when every part of you says, I'm done. Some of you are too emotional about your goals. You're too dependent on being in the right mood. You've made your feelings the boss of your future. And that's why you're stuck. Because feelings change. Discipline doesn't. I didn't get here because I was always fired up. I got here because I learned to move even when I was tired. I learned to show up even when the excitement was gone. You think it's fun grinding day after day with no applause, no recognition, no quick wins. It's not. But discipline says, I don't care what it feels like today. I care about where we're going. Discipline isn't sexy. It's not flashy. It doesn't get likes and retweets, but it builds empires. It builds character. It builds winners. And here's the thing. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's a muscle. You build it by choosing to show up again and again. You build it every time you ignore the excuse and do the work. Every time you say no to temptation. Every time you shut out distractions. Every time you keep your word, not to other people, but to yourself. That's where the real transformation happens. You're not always going to be motivated. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. Do it tired. Do it uncertain. Do it scared. Do it with a headache. Do it after a bad day. Just do it. That's what separates the average from the elite. The average needs everything to be perfect. The elite, they make it happen regardless. Because they understand, if I only move when I feel like it, I'll never move far. People look at champions and they think, oh man, they're just more motivated than me. Nah. What they've got is discipline. What they've got is a system. What they've got is a routine they don't break. They don't skip workouts because it's raining. They don't cancel plans because they're tired. They don't talk themselves out of greatness. They show up and they put in work, whether they feel like it or not. And here's the truth. Discipline gives birth to motivation, not the other way around. When you show up day after day, when you do the hard thing again and again, when you start seeing results, that's when motivation starts kicking in. That's when you start feeling that fire again. But it doesn't come first. You've got to earn it through discipline. You got to become the kind of person who keeps promises to themselves. You got to say, if I said I'm waking up at 6, I'm waking up at 6. If I said I'm writing one page every day, I'm writing one page. No excuses. Because that's how you build trust with yourself. Because that's how you build trust with yourself. And when you trust yourself, you stop needing motivation from the outside. You become your own engine. Let's get real. You already know what needs to be done. You don't need another quote. You don't need another hype video. You don't need another reason. You need discipline. You need to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm doing this whether I feel like it or not. That's the moment everything starts to change. That's the moment you stop being a slave to emotion and start being a master of your destiny. So what's it gonna be? You gonna keep living on borrowed motivation, or are you gonna start showing up with discipline? You wanna rebuild your life and build your discipline like your life depends on it, because it does. Not once, not twice, every day, rain or shine, weak or strong, tired or rested. You show up, you do the work, and you keep going. That's how greatness is made. Fear is the one thing most people run from. But let me tell you something. Fear isn't the enemy. Avoiding it is. Fear isn't what keeps you stuck. It's the fact that you let it control you, shape your decisions, and rob you of your potential. You've been living in the shadow of your fears for too long, and I get it. Fear feels real. It feels like a wall you can't climb. But you know what it really is? It's a mirror reflecting back your biggest insecurities. It's a spotlight on where your growth lives. And if you keep running from it, you'll never become who you were built to be. Everybody talks about wanting to be great. Everybody wants to live their dream life, make the money, get the recognition, feel fulfilled. But very few people want to do what it takes to get there. And that what it takes almost always means facing something that scares you. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of starting over, fear of not being enough. And you know what separates the real ones from the pretenders? The real ones face it. The pretenders let it lead them. You will never rise if you keep retreating. You can't conquer what you won't confront. The reason you're still in the same place with the same struggles, the same pain, the same regrets is because you keep turning your back when fear shows up. But I'm telling you right now, the only way to grow is to lean into that fear. Step into it. Walk right up to it. Look at Dan in the eye and say, I'm not backing down this time. You got to stop waiting for fear to disappear. It won't. You got to act even though it's there. People you admire, the ones who are killing in life, they feel fear too. But they act in spite of it. You think I wasn't scared when I got started? You think I didn't question myself, wonder if I was good enough, smart enough, ready enough? But I did it anyway. And the more I did it, the smaller fear became. Not because it went away, but because I got stronger. Every time you run from fear, you give it power. But every time you face it, you take that power back. You reclaim your freedom. You rebuild your confidence. You rewrite the story you've been stuck in. And let me tell you something. Fear always feels bigger in your mind than it is in reality. You imagine the worst case scenario, but when you face it, you realize it's just smoke. You realize you were the one giving it shape and weight. The fear of failure has paralyzed too many of you. But failure is not the enemy. Failure is feedback. Failure is fertilizer for your growth. You fail, you learn. You fall, you rise. You don't fail when you fall. You fail when you quit. So stop letting fear keep you from trying. Stop letting it convince you that playing small is safer. There's no safety in stagnation. There's no peace in settling. There's just regret. And I promise you that regret will burn longer than the fear ever did. You got to rewire your mindset. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask her, what if I succeed? Instead of saying, I'm scared to speak, say, I have something to say. Instead of thinking, I'm not ready, say, I'll grow as I go. Because that's the truth. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act anyway. And the more you act, the more courage you build. It's a cycle. Fear shows up, you move through it, you level up. You're not going to rebuild your life by staying comfortable. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die. If you want to rise, you got to walk straight into the things that make your stomach turn. You got to do the thing that scares you every day, whether it's making that call, asking for that opportunity, showing up in the room where you feel like an imposter. Do it. Do it scared. Do it scared. Do it unshaken. Do it anyway. Because every step you take through fear is a step toward freedom. It's a step toward the life you've been talking about, praying about, dreaming about. You say you want to rebuild yourself. Then start by taking back the ground fear has stolen from you. Start by doing what you've been avoiding. Start by proving to yourself that fear doesn't own you. You own it. You are not weak. You are not a victim. You are not your doubts. You are a warrior. And warriors don't retreat. They rise. They confront. They fight through every obstacle. And fear is just another opponent. One that gets smaller every time you choose to stand tall.